Check 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3. Check, 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 check. Holy cow. Did you ever have one of those days? Yeah. Today is one of those days. Holy cow. Well, let's see. Marie's here. David's here. Streaming Idiots is here. Tim is here. Are you late? I'm late. Holy cow. Why am I off center? It's a day. What can I say? It's a day. We were trying to do something special. And did you ever have that? Tom is scrambling. This is fun to watch. Thanks, Dave. Yes, yes. Okay. Yeah, so we were supposed to start, 7 minutes ago, something like that. I have a confession to make. That's right. Yep. True confessions. Here it is. I changed something in vMix. Yes, that's right. I did. I take full responsibility. No, I was getting ready for next week's vMix 101 class. By the way, it's going to be a great class. If you're new to vMix, you'll want to take it. And so I was rearranging my desktop to make it look more like the standard desktop when you very first start vMix, kind of the default setting in desktop. Well, what's not there in the default setting? That's right, the clock. So the production clock that I've got to count down to kind of give me a warning. Okay, Tom, it's time to get ready for the show. That was gone, and I didn't even notice that it was gone until all of a sudden look up and it's 1:58 here Central Time, 2:58 Eastern. And yeah, so there we go. That's in a nutshell. So is John early? No, he's not early. He's not late, but he's not early. Audio? What do you mean audio? Don't give me that stuff. Yeah. RJ is here. RJ, we need to talk. Yeah. So I'll get a hold of you. I have a special guest coming here to Fairhope in a couple of 3 weeks, and I thought you might want to come over and meet him. Anyway, just FYI. Herman's here. Dave's here. Rudy's here. Marie's here. Jan's here. And Daniel's here. Rich is here. I don't believe Rich. Oh, he says he's sort of here. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you know what? She was surprised you actually had audio. I was surprised I actually had audio. Yes, Chris is here. Okay. Well, the idea was today that I've got this brand new set, but it's not a brand new set. It's the same old set, but I am using it with virtual sets because I wanted to use the AIDA 4K camera, the UHD-100, and kind of go back through the regions of interest and show how we would do that in vMix with virtual sets and shortcuts and all that. Hello, Frank B. Your message got retracted for some reason. Let's see if we can't go into YouTube and unretract you. One sec here. We're in the wrong account. No, we're not. Yeah, we are. Here we are. Here we are. 1 second. Hang on, Frank. I got you. I got you covered. I just don't got you covered yet. All right, we got that right account there. That's what happens when you have more than one Google account. Don't ask me. Just don't even want to know. You don't want to know. I don't want to know. So let's get into today's live stream. Where is it? Apparently I have to be in Facebook in order to make these adjustments. So give me another 10 seconds. Live. Where is live? Live should be under live, right? It should be under live. Live is live. Okay. So there we are. Oh, we're in the settings for live. We want to watch it live. There we go. Okay. All right. So we can get into the message is held for review. Okay. Well, I'm the guy that would review it. Well, why can't I undo it? Frank, I'm sorry. I can't undo it. Show. There we go. Did I do it? Yes. He just said hello, Tom. That's worthy of review. Okay. So 4K. Dave says you can now stream to Facebook at 1080p on the Webcaster X2. So that means that device by device, Facebook is gradually opening up 1080p. You remember the Wowza Clearcaster, I believe is what it's called, has been able to do 1080p for a while. So today we're not doing 4K, but we're using a 4K camera. Not here. Well, actually, whose trick is this? Oh, golly, this is the trick about taking the Logitech C920 that has a 1920 by 1080 resolution and turning it sideways so that the 1920 is the height now, not the width, so that you get the equivalent kind of a 4K, so you can blow it up and do things with it and have a virtual regions of interest. So we're doing regions of interest with a sideways Logitech C920 right here, and then in just a second we're going to cut over to the studio and we're going to do regions of interest using vMix virtual sets and shortcuts. And Chris Morton got his message retracted. Chris, how did you do that? Golly gee. I can't make it do anything. It won't unretract. Sorry, Chris. I thought I had I can hide you. I can report you. I can put you in timeout, but I can't retract your message. I mean, I can't unretract your message somehow. So say it in a way that is acceptable to YouTube. All right. So in the studio, we're going to do regions of interest with 4K. This is the AIDA UHD-100 with a special lens. Yeah, Dave, they are a foul-mouthed bunch. And I'll pull the lens out and take it over there with me. It's not a fancy schmancy lens, but it has a good enough glass that it will do the 4K camera justice. So we've taken the AIDA cam, which is that box cam, kind of like a POV cam almost, and swapped out the native lens that comes with it. It's a C or a CS lens mount, and we've put another lens in there. Okay, Chris said something that he decided to remove. Oh, you retracted it. That means you took it out. I get it. Okay. It wasn't that it needed moderation. Got it. All right, there we go. So we're good to go. So before I foul this up any further, let's see who else is here. Maggie is here. She asked, what the heck are you doing? She's over on Facebook. Yeah, if you got to ask. Martin Zombor asked, how did you like Europe? Loved Europe. Loved Amsterdam. Actually, we never left the country. We stayed in the Netherlands the whole time. We went down to The Hague one day, but it was pretty spectacular. have a great, wonderful feeling coming away with it. I'll tell you what, those Europeans know how to bowl. There's one thing they know how to bowl. They do. Lloyd's here too. Lloyd, glad to have you. And let's see, make sure we're just, I didn't have time to consolidate all the comments to one place. So that's why it is so disorganized. So disorganized. Oh, my goodness. All right. So let's start a show, and let's see if we can make this show actually work the way it's supposed to work. And the bad, oh heck, we're late. Give me just 1 sec. I'm going to go ahead and start. Did you know that vMix Social had an update in it that kind of fixed the login with Facebook? So that when you log in with Facebook, it logs in the way it should all along. And it's really, really fast now. So I'm actually doing it while we're talking. And I'm logged in. Before, it was just a pain in the butt process. And so we're logged in with Facebook. Okay. And we're going to log in with YouTube. Come on, YouTube. Here we go, YouTube. And I punched too many buttons. So let's just take just a second, and let's get the vMix Social up and running, because I cheat. That allows me to see your comments up here because I've got a hot button that will let me do that. All right, log into YouTube. We got all the login credentials correct. Yes, we do. How are we doing on internet? We got plenty of internet. Sign in. YouTube. YouTube? Sign in with Google. Am I signing in as vMix? I don't think I can do that. Yeah. Let's try again. The last thing I want to do is try to sign in as vMix by accident. Speedball, that's right. It was Speedball. Speedball was amazing. No, it wasn't Speedball. B-A-L-L. It was Speedbowl. B-O-W-L. Bowl. That's how we pronounce it in English. Bowl. Okay, let's see how we're doing here. Let's turn that on. Turn that on. I must have done something wrong. Nope, here we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Now let's see if we can find it here. And all we have to do is refresh it. Browser, there it is right there. We're going to change. It's not really a refresh, it's a change, but I'm going to use the same. Right there, and there, and there, and there. There we go. See, there they are. It was that easy. You could have done it all along. Speedball. Speedbowl. Bowl. Okay. All right. So enough of this idle chit-chat. I love idle chit-chat with you. Miranda's here. Hello, Miranda. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. That was nice to go to that Lions game the other day, I bet. Wow, that's cool. It's been a long time since I've been to an an NFL game. Like 1973 Washington Redskins. Yeah, okay. So sit tight just a second. I'm going to switch over to the other set, and we'll get the show started. And, yeah, you can have a picture of switching over to the other set. Why not? Here we go. For what it's worth. And we'll switch over mics. And here we come. Here we come. Here we come. Here we are. Oh my goodness. X keys. Ta-da. X keys. Let's see if this is going to work if we go here. Almost. I'm a little off center. I was messing around with cameras. It's my fault. Of course, it's my fault. You say, Tom, you look a little smaller. I know. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. We'll be right back because we're going to do the intro. So we ready for the intro? 5, 4. Now, when we do that, when we start the show with the kids over at the school, when I tell them, okay, we're going to do a countdown, and we're going to start like at 5, 5, 4, 3, but then you have to hear 2, 1, and 0 in your head because we're not going to say them. So let's do the same thing here. You ready? This is going to be good. 5, 4, 3. Hello, welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair. This is Streaming Idiots. I'm delighted to have you here today for today's show. It is Wednesday, October 2nd, 2019, or 2019. I think we're calling it 20s now instead of 2019. And we've got a kind of a off-the-cuff, you might say, show today. Although I've been planning it for a long time, I was putting together the production today, hence the late start, because I got rid of my production clock. I just took the production clock off. I was getting ready for next week's vMix 101 class, so I was trying to make my vMix desktop look like the kind of the default setting. When you first bring it up for the first time, it doesn't have the clock on there. So I took the clock out in preparation for next Tuesday's class, but that was also the same clock that I used to say, okay, it's time to start the pre-show, it's time to start the stream, those kinds of things. And so I looked up and it was 2 minutes until showtime, and I hadn't started a stream or even prepped a stream. So I'm sorry. I apologize. You can fire me. You can fire me right now if you need to. Yeah. So a hat tip out there to all you speed bowlers. Yes, it was pretty spectacular speed bowling. Yeah, the studio's a little bit different today. We've got a little different shot because we're using a little different camera. Today's camera is an AIDA, that's AIDA, AIDA UHD-100 with a special lens. And I was going to get the lens box. We'll do that in post-show. So stick around in post-show. I'll tell you what lens we're using. It's not the lens that comes with it because the lens that came with it had too much fisheye. So we were trying to get rid of the fisheye and also get good glass in order to do the 4K, because we're going to talk about regions of interest. If you were there with us in the pre-show, we were doing sort of a what would you call it? A budget, a budget regions of interest by taking the Logitech C920 and turning it sideways so that the 1920 pixels were now 1920 pixels high. And so we could zoom in on it and get a good resolution, or pan it and tilt it and do all those kinds of things to it, and use it as regions of interest. I do it over there at the desk, and it makes me feel better to do it that way. Like you care. I understand. I get that. But today we're going to talk about regions of interest, and we're going to talk about regions of interest with the AIDA camera, with vMix, with the virtual studio in vMix, using shortcuts for the virtual studio in vMix. And if you're like me an hour ago, you're like, virtual studio, I've never seen a shortcut for virtual studio. Well, virtual studio has a shortcut. You can Google it. You can Google vMix virtual studio shortcut. Yep, just like that. And it will pop up, among other things, a link to the vMix knowledge base that talks about how to use the shortcut set index. That makes sense, doesn't it? Set index allows you to select the different cameras in the virtual set. So you can set camera number 1, 2, 3, or 4, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, the way the pictures are arranged in the virtual set. And then, of course, you have to identify that your input is the virtual set input. So there we go. So let me just, let's see, let me bring up, can I bring up the studio? here. Not seeing it, guys. Where is it? Don't think that's the button. Let's just try this button. Let's see what happens. No, that's not the button. Maybe this is the button. There we go. That's the button. Okay. So we've got the virtual studio here, and I'm going to bring in right now. This is just the camera straight, and actually, this is a crazy setup. It's a crazy setup, but it's so much fun to play with this stuff. Don't you like to play? And then you play long enough that you learn it, you get good enough at it, and you throw it into your regular production workflow. So we've got the AIDA UHD-100, which is right there in front of me. It's an HDMI camera, and we've got a big old thick long HDMI cable going to PC number 2 in our setup, because PC number 2 has a Blackmagic Deck Link mini recorder 4K card in it, so it can take the 4K camera image. So we're bringing that into PC number 2. PC number 2 is making that available NDI to PC number 1, which is bringing it in as a camera and using it for our virtual set. By the way, PC number 2 is also streaming and recording. Golly, I hope I didn't overload it, because PC number 2 is an i3. Yes, vMix runs on an i3. Can you believe it? Anyway, so we've got, but it's like a 10-core i3 or something crazy like that. I'm just teasing, but it's yeah. So we've got the 4K camera coming into PC number 2, NDI over a gigabit network to PCI number 1, where it's being used as a virtual studio. And I've got a merge button right here, and hold on, find something solid to hold on to, because I'm going to bring in the virtual set. Are you ready? Count of 3. 1, and we'll count with all the numbers this time. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Did you get it? Did you see it? That was earth-shattering, wasn't it? Here, let me do it again. I think this one might bring up a lower third. Let's see what happens if I do this. Ready, set, see my thumb right here? Go. Nope, didn't bring up a lower third, but this is the camera directly. If you watch the background, you can see a little difference in the background. See how the background's just a tad lighter? Okay, now we're on the virtual set. And the virtual set is using our same cool background that Dr. Charles Campbell gave me 4 years ago. Thank you, Dr. Charles. We're a little wider here today because we have some guests. On this side, we have our vMix pillow. That's guest number 1. And over here, we have Lemonade and a Smartie. Yes, you thought dum-dums were the official camera of Streaming Idiots? Well, Smarties are the antidote. So we've got Smarties. They're Canadian candies, by the way. We got Smarties and Lemonade, and then the vMix pillow over here. These are our guests today, and so we're gonna have interviews with our guests. Well, in order to open a show, though, I really do need, golly, I hope I get the right button. Let's see if I can get the right button the first time. I really do need, there we go. I need the close-up of me. Whoops, and somehow I've adjusted the camera wrong. All right, so that's all right, we'll fix that. So you notice that the background now, the zoom brought in the background. That's the whole idea of a virtual set, of course, as opposed to just taking a green screen background and then zooming in it where the green screen stays the same size and the background stays the same size, but the person gets bigger or smaller or what have you. So we'll go back out. Let's see if we go back out. I think this is going to be our go back out button. There we go. I can sit up a little bit more as we do it. There we go. And we're not quite straight. Yes, I understand there's a little bit more room here than there is here. I get that. So we'll work on that. But this is not a polished production. This is Streaming Idiots. This is not a polished production. All right, so let's go back to just me as the host. I'm going to say something really nice, and I'm going to turn it over to one of my guests here. I'm going to turn it over to Lemonade. And so we pan over to Lemonade, and Lemonade has a chance to talk. But now Pillow wants to chime in. So we could use a cut to hear what Pillow had to say. But we can also kind of go back out to that middle shot. The whole idea is that you've got the ability to have again, it's regions of interest. We've got one camera that's given us 4 shots. Now, are the shots perfect? No. Obviously, you'd have to work with them a little bit. And in vMix, when you do the zoom in the virtual set or with the virtual PTZ, they're similar in function. You have to be careful with your zoom, because if you zoom this, if this is 4K, which is whatever the 4K numbers are, ending in twice, well, it's twice 1920 by 1080. What is that? 3840 by 2160. There you go. I won't be able to say it again. So we've got that resolution that we're working with here, and we want to take a 1080p picture of it. Now, 1080p is half of that second number. So really what it is, it's a quarter, it's 25% of what you see here. So from right here to like right over there, right there, all that part in there is 1080. And then over here is 1080, and up there is 1080, and up there is 1080. And so in vMix, if I do a zoom with a magnification of 2, that takes me to 1080. If I do a magnification of 3, that takes me to 720. If I do a magnification of 4 or more than 3, I'm not in high definition anymore. So we want to stay in high definition. In fact, for this, we want to stay in 1080. So this is a 1080 shot right here on a 4K camera. As we talk to Pillow for just a minute, Pillow is still at 1080. And yeah, we could have arranged Pillow out a little bit further. We could have done some other things with Pillow. We could have done some other things over here with Smarty and with Lemonade, by the way. Lemonade is really, really good. And this is just like straight lemonade. That's awesome. So the idea is that we can do, how did I get on this whole deal? Yeah, we can throw in a lower third just for fun. And I have no idea what the QR code is. So somebody scan the QR code and tell me what it is. The whole concept behind this was I have been approached by the local school system to give them an option sheet, 3 different options on ways that they can put studios in their school. You know, what would the costs be? What would the specs be? What equipment would be used? What kind of technology would be used? That kind of thing. And I just got through putting one in a very nearby school. Some of you guys may have seen the morning announcements that these kids have done. These are 10 and 11-year-olds. Yeah, that's right, 10 and 11-year-olds. And they do a great job, by the way. It's really it excites me to be around them. I mean, you can tell I've got a little bit of an edge on with me today. Part of it is post-Amsterdam soaring, and part of it is just, working with these kids on a daily basis. I'm just volunteering. I'm there for less than an hour a day when they do their announcements in the morning. They do the announcements at 10:50 local time, and the announcements last 2.5 minutes, but they spend 45, 50 minutes getting ready to do it. We've spent several weeks learning them, teaching them, and letting them learn to the point where they can do it. We have in their studio, we have 2 PTZ Optics 20X cameras. Now, 20X is a little big lens-wise for a small studio, but part of the specs were that they wanted to be able to have that camera on a tripod, on a dolly, that they could roll down and plug in to the Ethernet port in the gymnasium. And so we did that. And that's a story, you may have heard that story before. And if you are interested by it and you want more information, shoot me an email, tom@easternshorebroadcasting.com. But we had to, the specs said we needed 2 separate cameras in there. And as it turned out, that ended up being really, really good for lots of reasons. But it was also, it was a $15,000 studio. Not every school is going to have $15,000 to build a studio. So my thought was, okay, if we're going to take out the 2 PTZ cameras and put in a single camera, we really need to have a 4K camera so we can do regions of interest. And the AIDA UHD-100 at $500-600 plus the lens, which is another, I don't know, probably another $200. So let's just say we've got $750, $780 in the camera, but it's 4K and it allows us to do regions of interest. Well, $780 is less than half the cost of one PTZ camera. So we've got the similar function to a PTZ, but in certainly a much smaller footprint and in one camera, and a quarter of the cost of two. So I make the mistake of looking at the chat, and Jan is saying something about lemonade, and Maggie is saying something about the kids programming themselves, and Rich is saying that today's sound is better than usual. Why is today's sound better than usual? That's interesting. Have we changed something? Rich, have you been in here and changed something? Anyway, back to what got me on this whole subject of 4K, regions of interest, virtual sets, blah, blah, blah. It's a cost-effective way of doing it that's going to allow us, resellers like me, but also other interested community members to pitch high-quality, high-definition broadcasts in schools for less than $1 million, or less than 20. I mean, what was it? The school I'm working with, they said they did a study like 5 years ago to try to put a studio in, and it was going to cost them $50,000. And they said, we were hoping this last time we could do for half that, and we've got some money, we have to raise some more. Well, as it turned out, we did it for less than half of what they had hoped. But they did some other things. They did some painting and did some other things. So they brought some stuff to the table. Anyway, the point is that in a small studio standpoint, a small studio setting, the regions of interest 4K is going to be really good, I think, for a 1 to 3 person setup. 3 if they're small people. Only 2 if it's me and Jan. What I'm really looking out for, and I'm not allowed to say that. Doggone it. Okay, well, how can we say it without saying it? What if we had a piece of software that could take a 4K image, an 8K image, and do regions of interest 1080p 8K? Well, 8K is going to be twice as much as 4K, right? And so that means that a 1080p portion of 8K is going to be 1/8. Am I correct, or is it 1/16? Somebody do the math and work it out for me. So all of a sudden, if you can take a big picture and block it up into, well, let's just say eighths. Would that be right? That would be 2 across and 4 up? No, that wouldn't be right. Maybe it's 16ths. Anyway, now you've got the ability for a small church, to take an 8K camera and put it in and do regions of interest with, again, the virtual idea that we're gonna come in and we're gonna talk to our guest, Mr. Pillow, for a second, and then we're gonna switch over to our well, actually, this is the sermon over here. You can tell he's the sermon guy over here, and then over here, the pillow guy is the choir. So we've been able to go all the way across the width of the sanctuary in this house of worship, and get those type of images and be able to blow them up so that they are in 1080p. But you can only do that with 8K. Now, ESPN production of much, if not all, of their sports is 720p. Some cases 60, but don't worry about that. So if we use the 720 as a kind of an acceptable level of live streaming, then a 4K camera doing 720 regions of interest gives us the similar abilities that an 8K camera would give us for 1080 regions of interest. It may not be exactly spot on math-wise, but it's similar in function. So the next test I'm going to do is to take this camera over to our small church, maybe 70 feet from front to back, maybe 30 feet wide, something like that. You know, it's kind of a rectangle, longer than it is wide, obviously. And see just how regions of interest at 720p would look, because again, our church is set up with, let's see, this would be the praise band over here. This would be the altar in the center, and the preacher generally sets up a podium in front of actually in the aisle and preaches from down in the aisle. And then there's a lectern over here where the lessons are read from, and that's the layout of our church. And we use one PTZ camera, and so we're moving from spot to spot. But you notice how beautifully this moves. It slows up. I mean, it starts slowly, and then it speeds up, and then it slows down as it gets to its destination point. You know, kudos to Martin Sinclair and the who else would I say? What am I trying to say here, Tom? Come on, think about it really. And to Martin Sinclair and the gerbils at vMix that make this kind of thing possible. Starting slowly, speeding up, slowing down as it reached its destination. So there we are at regions of interest with vMix virtual set using the set index, what do you call that thing? Shortcut, thank you, in vMix, 4K camera. And in this particular circumstance, we're taking 4K over NDI from one PC to another. So that's it. That's regions of interest, 4K, 1080p, small studio, possibly 720p in a larger studio or worship space. Now, will this work for sports? Maybe. I could see this working for basketball or for volleyball, but you would want probably more than 4 presets on your cameras. So I think vMix will do that. I'll have to check. Yeah. Are they American Smarties? They are actually Smarties that are made in Canada. I'm given to understand these are made in Canada and marketed in the U.S. under the trade name Smarties. Yes. And this is not Mr. Coffee Mug. This is lemonade. We'll get the lemonade shot for you. Whoops. Here we go. The lemonade shot. That is pure country time lemonade. And Smarties candies. We have 2 official candies. We have Smarties and we have Dum Dums. And since it's a Streaming Idiot show, yes, of course, we're going to do kind of a dichotomy approach with Smarties on one hand, Dum Dums on the other hand, and as you're in the range of idiothood, you could be a Smartie and still be an idiot. I mean, how many smart people do you know? Yeah, fill in the rest of the sentence. There you go. Okay, so that's the show for today. We didn't get to do all the funky announcements that we normally do, so let's do funky announcements right now. Coming up next week, next Tuesday, October 8th, 2019, is our next vMix 101, the Basics of Live Production class. We have about 20 students in it right now. We've got room for some more. If you'd like to be in it, we'd love to have you. It's $129.95. It is 6 weeks. Classes last about 90 minutes. It just depends on the length of the discussion. We'll teach the class twice a day, so you have 2 times. You can pick either one. You can do an afternoon class one week and then tune in for the night class the next week. It's at 3 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday for 6 weeks. I'll be teaching all the classes. It's idiot-proof, right? Or it may not be idiot-proof, but it's definitely idiot-tested. Those of you that have taken the class before, and would like to take it again, you can come in, alumni, you can come in and audit the class. You're not allowed to take the final exam. Just a wink and a nod on that one. We don't really have a final exam. We're going to go to the close-up shot. And I'm going to lean down a little bit because I didn't get the camera in the right spot for this one. But if you'd like to brush up on your knowledge of vMix, fill in some of the gaps, this is a great opportunity. If you're new to vMix, everybody that bought one of our vMix PCs recently gets into this class for free. If you've taken the class before, you can audit it for the whole class, or you can just take a class, just show up for one of the particular classes that you need. You can go online to easternshorebroadcasting.com, right down there, and you can go in. I think you go into the store and then you go into the classes. And then if you go into the class, it will show you the weekly schedule, starting with October 8th, where we will start out very basically with the vMix desktop. What are all those buttons? What are all those things on the desktop? And we'll go through all of that, and then we'll work our way all the way through to some of the more complicated things at the end. It's not in depth in any section, but it will get you started on every section. And of course, questions and answers, we can go into some depth on that. And you're also welcome to call and chat with me about that too. If you buy one of our PCs, you get lifetime technical support. So I talked to, who was it? I was talking to Stacy yesterday. Stacy's going to be in the class, I hope. And I hope we're going to get Stacy on the show because she has a really cool business that she runs, that she's been doing recorded video forever. And now she wants to do live video. And when she gets to a certain point, she's comfortable, I want her to come on the show and share what she's doing. She's got an overhead camera and she's got a work surface. And I'm not going to steal her thunder, but yeah, it's really cool. So Stacy will be in the class. You can meet Stacy. That's right. All right, well, we're going to move into the post show now, and I can answer any questions you have about 4K or about the vMix 101 class coming up. I appreciate you tuning in today. Thank you for your time. You honor me by your presence, and we'll be right back in just a second. Should we do the post show from here? We're going to do the post show from here. Do a giveaway? That's a great idea. I have a giveaway. What can I? Do you guys? We'll do the giveaway in post show. We'll do the giveaway in post show. Okay. All right. So here we go. Giveaway coming up in post show in just a minute. No, it's not going to be a free training session, but I've got something that's really cool. So we'll be back with the post show in just a minute. Out. I think. Let's see. Are we out? There we go. All right. Oh no. Ah! Let's go back here. We didn't mean to do that. I don't think. Let's do this. Oh yeah, that's right there. There we go. Okay, now we're back in the virtual set. We're in post show, even though we're not in the post show set. I wanted to stay in this main set because I thought you guys might have some questions about 4K and such. Dave's done the math. Thank you very much. 2160 versus 1080 is 4 times, and 1080 versus 720 is 2.5 times, and 2160 versus 720 is 9 times. No, Dave, your math's off. Good try. Good try. Carl says, Tom, have you heard any problems with 4K Dell computers with vMix desktop capture? No, I haven't. Eric says a free PTZ Optics cam should be given away today. Actually, I have an unnamed person because I'm not going to name him, because you may want to approach him and say, I want one too. But I have an unnamed person who has given a giveaway for us to give away. So we're going to give it away today. It is a USB MIDI controller. It is not an X Keys. It's made by Samson. It is a 13-pad portable controller. It is it's the Graphite MD13. Graphite MD13. And it is iPad compatible. It's USB bus powered. It needs no AC adapter. It has 13 velocity sensitive trigger pads. It has 6 programmable rheostats. It has some octave buttons. It has a master, there we go, a master rheostat. Has program mode to change programs, so I guess it means you could have more than 13 keys. Has a crossfader, and all of this can be controlled by vMix, and the directions come in multiple languages. So there we go. So how are we going to do this? Yep, we'll send this sucker overseas. If you are watching internationally, and if you win this today, we will send this to you overseas. You might have to pay a little VAT on it, but that's up to you and the VAT patrol. So the answer to my question, here's the question. You ready? Let's zoom in for a little extra drama. Win this Samson controller. Oops, let's turn it that way. By answering the question. In vMix, if you click Add Input, how many different categories do you have a choice of selecting? Now, when I say that, I know it says like NDI desktop capture. That's all one category. How many categories? And it's first one in the YouTube chat to get that number. How many different categories are there on that? We'll give you, the clock is ticking. Tick, 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 tick. We could have some ticking music if we had thought about this in advance. This is the Samson Graphite MD13. It is a MIDI control, 13 pads, portable controller, USB powered. Ken Benedict says 13 categories. Is he right? I don't know. You guys tell me. We'll just have to put it in all the... All right, RJ says... Oh, Dave says 18. RJ says 13 question mark. Maggie says 42. Jan says 14. Kenny says 13. Nicholas says 12. Just Score Magazine says 12. Ken says 16. Kent says 16. Bruno says 16. Cola says 16. Oh, come on, guys. All you have to do is count them. Go count them. Daniel says 20. William says 20. How many are there? All right, I'll have to go back and count. And by the way, this is vMix version 22.0.0.69. So if you're using something else besides that, it's not going to work. Maggie could have programmed an X Keys button to trigger that music. You would have had to thought about that in advance, Mags. Okay, so I'll go. Yes, I'm going to go back and look right now. Yes, I will. Hold on a second. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. I'll have to shout at the microphone from across the room so that we can announce the winner. Hold on. We're doing add input. And count with me. We got video, that's one. DVD, list, camera, NDI, stream, instant replay, image sequence, video delay, image, photos, PowerPoint, colors, audio, audio input, title, flash, virtual set, web browser, video call is exactly 20. And let's see, who was the first person to guess 20? Hold on. Let's see. Maggie said 42. That's not right. Going back in time. William Mueller. William Mueller guesses 20. So this is coming to him in, is it Denmark? Sweden? Yes. Coming to you. And I have your address because we've already sent stuff to you. So congratulations. This will be really fun. It'll be fun to play with. And you never know, it may fit perfectly into a workflow that you're doing. There you go. All right. So 20 is the answer. So if somebody asks you that again on like the vMix Fun Time live show or something, you are ready with that answer. Ready with that answer. So yes, we could have done a giving away a class, but you know, classes are for people that need them. I don't want to give away stuff people don't need. Everybody can use this. Everybody can use this. All right, so now William wins. There we go. Nicholas got the right answer. He's just a little late. A little late, Nicholas. A little late. Oh, William says pass it on to the next one. Okay, we'll have to go back and see who the next person was. Hold on a second. Let's see who was the next number 20. Who was the next number 20? Next number 20 was, oh, hold on. Daniel Wright. Daniel Wright. Ding, 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 ding. Maggie, who needs to program sound effects? I'll do my own. All right, Daniel. Shoot me an email. Use the contact form, Eastern Shore Broadcasting. Make sure I have your mailing address and your phone number and, of course, your email address. And I will UPS that rascal to you. It's going to be fun. RJ, I'll chat with you later. Thanks for tuning in. Yes, indeedy. All right. William, thank you very much. We'll figure out a good treat for you to bring to IBC next year. William and I had an opportunity to meet week before last at IBC in Amsterdam, and it was a real treat to meet him. He was, you know how you have these images in your mind of what people look like. Actually, I'd seen him in the instant replay class because he took the instant replay class. And I had in mind that he was about 5'4" and maybe going about, 280, kind of bowling ball size. Not like that at all. Not like that at all. Isn't that funny how that works? There you go. All right. What is the best USB capture card you would recommend? Well, USB capture. So we're talking about a USB 3 dongle. We used to call it a dongle. Now we're calling it a capture card. I guess dongle sounded kind of dumb. I like the Magewell, $299 US. I like the Yuan, $249 US. We sell both of them. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them in B&H. There are knockoffs, Chinese imitations that you can get for $100. The Elgato has got the Cam Link, I think for like $100, $125. The question is, do you want to set it and forget it, or do you want to worry that it's not going to work every time? And if you want to set it and forget it, the Yuan or the Magewell are your best bets. And I'm assuming you're talking about something that's going to go USB to HDMI or USB to SDI. Yeah. Although, and this would not be in your budget because you're talking about something else, I saw a really neat box. I guess we can't call it a card because it was much bigger than that at IBC from Bird Dog that would take 4 4K inputs and make them available over NDI and would also do decode. It was really cool. I can't wait to get one of those in here and play around with it. Bring the iris down, you're glowing. Yeah. Well, I always glow after a good show. Now, who knows what it is? And I don't have, white balance. I don't have, the shirt is blowing out. Let me see if I change my set. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Yeah, that didn't help much, did it? I set the camera up a little quickly today and didn't take as much time as I could have, should have to do the white balance. In fact, the camera has got its own configurations that you can get into via USB. The configurations that I used were the basic color correction in vMix, and then I tweaked it using the more complicated color correction. Ken says, thanks for selling me the XK80. The XK60 was just not enough. Well, now you've got the equivalent of an XK140. You're welcome, Ken. Thank you for being such a good customer and a good friend. Ken, for the last year, I guess, is the right way to put it, has been the official Streaming Idiots technical director of the Streaming Idiot meetup at NAB. He and Rich took care of that last year, to which I am very grateful. And then, of course, Dave and Kenny were the commentators, moderators, MCs of the event. So we're working on plans for that now, and we will share those with you when we have something to share. Time to give away the pillow? No. I'm not giving away this pillow. This pillow came from, can you guess where it came from? Yes, it came from the vMix booth at NAB 2019. So this was last spring. The guys that built the booth just supplied these things, and it's it's not anything fancy. I guess it's screen printed on there or something, and it's got a little zipper on it. There you go. So they provided a bunch of these to the booth, and when the show was over, Martin and Tim were going to put them in their luggage and take them back to Australia. So I flattened one down and took it back here with me to Fairhope, Alabama. And that reminds me, we have something that we brought back from IBC. Actually, we have 5 things that we brought back from IBC from the booth there. And we'll be making those part of our studio here in honor of vMix. Not that we are trying to pretend that we are vMix, because we're not. We are a reseller for vMix. But we're having a lot of fun. The 4K camera, yes, the 4K camera we're using right now is from AIDA, A-I-D-A. It's the UHD Ultra High Definition. I figured that one out on my own. UHD-100. It retails for, I think, $5.99. Street price is like $5.70. We took off the factory lens, and we've equipped it with another lens, which adds about $200 to the price, because the other lens, the factory lens, had too much fisheye in it, I thought. So this one was good, and it also has a longer zoom. It's all manual focus, manual zoom, but it. Alex said, I just realized you're streaming to Facebook and YouTube. Yes. Thank you, Alex. And normally we would stream to 2 YouTubes, but today was an anomaly. The camera is HDMI, 4K HDMI, and it's running into a Blackmagic DeckLink mini recorder 4K. You remember that's the little card from Blackmagic that has 2 inputs, has an SDI input, and it has an HDMI input. You can't use them simultaneously, and there are no outputs. The mini monitor has outputs, but the mini recorder is input only. I think it was about $200, $195, something like that. And so we're running the AIDA camera over HDMI into that port on PC number 2. And then PC number 2 is taking that 4K image and making it available over NDI on the network to PC number 1. And PC number 1 is putting it in the production and using the vMix virtual sets, allowing us to do interviews with our guests here. This is our Lemonade and Smarties, or our other guest, which is the, let's see, let's come on over here to the vMix Pillow. So we're using the virtual set in vMix and the 4K. And you notice how the background doesn't, when you use chroma key and you start zooming with your camera, the background stays the same. Well, here with a virtual set, what that means is the background stays in the same proportion to the shot in the foreground. So it's as if this set behind me right here were really right there, when I can look around and see it's really not there. Take my word for it. So as it moves over, it moves the background with it, and you can tell, let's go out to this wide shot. The zoom starts out slowly, speeds up a little bit, and then slows down as it approaches its designated endpoint. And that's built into vMix. That's the virtual set function, and we're just able to use that. You can do it with any camera, but here with a 4K camera, it means that even when we're zoomed in on Mr. Lemonade right here and Mr. Smarty, that's still a 1080p image. And that coming out here, this image is actually closer to 4K, even though we're just streaming at 1080p. So there you go. Good question. Mark says, any reason why there's no price on the X-Key 68 jog shuttle on the Eastern Shore Broadcasting website? Oh my gosh, really? Well, that's an oversight. Doggone. It is still available. Yes, it is still available. Yes, you were asking about that in the Facebook group. Mark, I'll check after the show and put it up there. I can send you an invoice for one, even though it's not in the store. And we have we have some inside. We have an inside contact at X-Keys. Actually, everyone at X-Keys is an inside contact for us. They're great. Tommy says, are we selling these pillows? Tom, I have one. I have one, and I am not selling it. I am not giving it away. I'm not. So there we go. And Eric says that you're banned from buying pillows anyway. This was a relic, leftover from NAB 2019. It's fun to have. I was looking around like maybe I had some other relics here close by, but I don't, within arm's reach. But it's fun to have, these kind of little trinkets that remind you of fun times and notable events. I have some IBC 2019 trinkets that, actually one in particular, that the only way I was able to get it back into the States, the only way I was able to fit it in my suitcase, was to cut it into 6 pieces. And so I have to reassemble it here in the studio. And we're having a special visitor in 3 weeks, 2 weeks, something like that. I think it's 3 weeks. And so I need to get that particular trinket that's in 6 pieces. I need to get that put back together before our special visitor visits. We'll tell you a little bit more about that when we have it firmed up. Jan says, speaking of X-Keys, I can only recommend the X-Key replay controller. Actually, I can't recommend it enough. Well, golly gee, there's a recommendation. That is the controller that has the jog shuttle and the T-bar. And I didn't understand the importance of the T-bar until I got to IBC and I watched Yannick work the controller. And the T-bar is great because it allows you to control the speed of the replay very easily. It's not like pushing up and down buttons to make it go faster and slower. It's very intuitive in that you push the T-bar forward to go faster, you pull it back to go slower or maybe it's the other way around. But it really does make that process much easier. The Jog Shuttle has been on the XK68 for a while, but the new one, I haven't had an XK68 in here in this shop in a while, so I don't want to speak and say something that's wrong. But the new one has got a great solid metal case, very durable. It's going to last a long, long time. Plugs in USB. And of course, like all the X keys, it's a Lego set. You don't like the way the buttons are organized, you change them. If you don't think it has enough buttons, you can add more buttons to it. Is Tom S banned? Tommy, I think I'm okay. I don't think I'm banned right now. I'll have to check. Daniel says, great show. I want to thank you again for the prize. Well, thank William. It's a great birthday present. October 10th. Well, happy birthday. We'll see you next show. Don't forget to send me your address. How far are you from Birmingham, Alabama? Well, HD Video Pro Eric, how far are you away from Mobile, Alabama? Because I'm across the bay from Mobile, a little town called Fairhope. You're Birmingham, so that's about, about 3.5 hours from here to Montgomery, and then another hour-ish, depending on where you are in Montgomery. So 4.5, 5 hours. Yep, not too bad. We go through there on the way to Chattanooga frequently. Excuse me. John says the T-bar is a great reference for whatever replay speed you have it set at. There you go. Tommy Willis says Tom is at the other end of the state, the bottom end. Tommy's in the middle. Well, Birmingham's kind of in the middle too. I mean, Tommy's closer to Montgomery than he is to anything else. And Birmingham, I like Birmingham. That's a neat town. All right, Alex says, Tom, I wondered if you've seen the zero density AR virtual sets. I have not seen the zero density AR virtual sets. Is that a live streaming thing? And the USB cable on the replay controller is long. Yeah, it's like 10 feet long. Holy cow. Kenny Hampton. There he's Kenny. Johnny did a great job of showing off some of the X-Key replay controllers on World of Live Streaming a couple of weeks ago. For those of you that are interested, I mean like really interested in live streaming, there is a show on Mondays called World of Live Streaming. It's on Facebook for sure. You can Google World of Live Streaming. It's a group. They will probably let you into the group. And Kenny, is there a URL for that show? We don't know. Yes, Eric, I'm kind of around Mobile. Carl says, hey, Tom, have you heard any problems with vMix 4K and Dell laptops and Dell desktop capture? I have not. I had an older Dell, like 7 or 8 years, that wouldn't work with NDI, but that's the only experience I've had with the Dell laptops. I'm sorry. COLC TV, which vMix camera would you recommend for Blackmagic Design ATM television studio that can be controlled in the mixer? I don't know. I don't know that much about the Blackmagic television studio product. Somebody else might be able to do that. Amnon says, time is close to everyone at one time or another. That's right. We have passed through Raleigh and seen Amnon on a couple of occasions. That was cool. I want to do that again soon. M12 Pop, will your intro to vMix course include classes on vMix Social and vMix Caller? Yes, but not in depth. It's more of an introduction. We'll talk about how to log in, how to get comments, how to post them as a lower third, and then how to do vMix Call. Yeah. I mean, it's the 40% of what the product does that you need 80% of the time. Did we see any good gear at IBC? Says Rich. Yeah, if I'd brought more suitcases. Oh boy, next time. Next time. Marie and audio. There's Chris Jones. Let me introduce Chris Jones to you guys. Chris is our new marketing consultant who has worked extensively marketing the vMix replay class and the vMix 101 class, and is starting a new store for us called Live Streaming Gear that he's working on. And what else? He's working on something else. He's got a bunch of projects. We'll try to keep him busy. Dave says no problems with Dell and vMix 4K. Rich is trying to go all wireless and video. Well, I think wireless is great until it's not. Yep. Waterproof headsets so you can mic up the jet skiers. Well, there you go. Yeah, Marie and John spent almost the whole week at IBC, and I don't think they got to see everything, although I think they were fraternizing with the help quite a bit between X Keys and vMix and who knows who else. Yeah, it was a good trip. Had an opportunity to go out to dinner with Sandy and I with John and Marie very early on. That was a real treat. Chris is after me again. When will you organize a 201 course? Here's the thing, Chris. I would love to. But a 201 course, what that means to me is when you go to college, and they're using 4 digits now, but back in my day, they used 3 digits. So 101 would be an introductory class. 102 would be the second part of 101. 201 would be a deeper dive into a particular subject in that same general category. And I could do a 201 series. What I'd like to do, probably more than that, is to do a series of individual classes and to have a deep dive into vMix Call, a deep dive into Virtual Studio, a deep dive into we could do a deep dive into concepts like regions of interest, a deep dive into shortcuts, triggers, and activators, and spend a lot of time in those instead of just kind of introducing them, talking about how they work, and then showing some examples, and then moving on, going in deeper and showing about how triggers and shortcuts and activators can all intermingle and work in conjunction with each other. So a shortcut can bring in an input that has some triggers attached to it that do some other things. So there you go. Yep. And Carl's comment is just running off the bottom here. Oh, and it's gone. Carl, sorry, post it again. Marie was fraternizing with the help. Yes, you were. You sure were. Martin's here. Good times at IBC, met some great people. Yes, he did meet some great people. He sure did. That was a lot of fun. And quite a few photos out there. Most of them were taken by Maggie. So if you're not friends with Maggie, you need to be friends with Maggie so you can see her pictures. And Mr. Hayford is here. Mr. Queasy, Ebenezer Hayford, glad to have you. And Rich is smiling, laughing, tears coming down his cheeks. I can see it now. It's as good as if it were here. There we go, Carl's opinion. Okay, Tom, when I use multi-view, inside of a multi-view, everything comes across except the camera input. Really? A multi-view inside a multi-view, and the camera input is not meaning it. I know I've had some problems with chroma key backgrounds not passing through in multi-views, or not being able to resize the whole function as a unit. I'm not familiar with that one, Carl. Chris says he means 102. No, the 101 class goes through everything. It's like 101 and 102 all together. We cover all the bases for vMix. Marie was a decoy. Oh, no, Marie. Maggie will tell you what you were. Maggie, if you're still here, Miranda, if you're still here, tell Marie what she was. Yeah, there's a special name for that. It's not decoy. Yep. Eric says, what laptop do you recommend for vMix? That's a great question. Dave, if you're still here, would love to have you chime in on that too, and John as well. Almost any laptop that will do gaming will do vMix well. Yep. The key is i7 CPU, solid state drive as main drive, and possibly an option for a second drive, and then an NVIDIA GTX graphics card. Yep. Let's see. You think vMix will ever be designed to work on a Mac? No, never. Amnon says, has anyone had anything negative to say about the Stream Deck guys? I don't know anything about Stream Deck. I mean, I've seen them, but I don't know anything about them. Multi-view inside a multi-view. I wouldn't be that tiny, says Rich. Always glad to have Rich add something to the conversation. Tommy feels better now. We're glad for that. Jan says vMix will never be made for Mac OS. That is true. And I've heard the vMix guys say that repeatedly. It's just, there's just something missing in Mac that vMix needs to have in order to make it work. And so if it's not there, it's not there. What does Lemonade have to say about this? Well, let's see. Now the Lemonade straw is actually yellow, but it may look like it's green because it just sort of disappears. So there we go. Tommy says, I believe that vMix has gotten so good now that it will work on a good i5. Tommy, this show is being streamed and recorded, and a 4K camera is passing through a PC running vMix. The 4K camera is passing through as an input in vMix NDI to my main PC. The second PC is an i3. Now, granted, it's a quad-core i3, and so the I designation sometimes is a little flaky because they're quad-core i3s, they're dual-core i5s, so you have to dive into the specs a little bit deeper to really understand. Mr. Hayford says that vMix works perfectly on his i5. Do it, dude. Yeah, there's some i5s out there now. Yeah, I'll have to check. That I think are doing, 4 gigahertz. Eric says, I think it would be cool to run vMix on a Microsoft Surface or an iPad. It is cool to run it on a vMix Surface. I have done that. I have a Surface. The problem with the Surface, the Surface is it's a connectivity nightmare because it has, at least mine is a 6 Pro. It has one USB port. It has a display port, but it has one USB port. So the inputs of cameras, although it does have a front camera and a back camera, so I guess you could work it that way. So I really like it. In fact, I may try to do a live stream at the church one Sunday from the Surface just to see if it'll work. It doesn't have an Ethernet jack, So I'm going to have to use the USB port as an Ethernet jack so I can plug into my PTZ camera over IP, and then take internet over Wi-Fi. Shouldn't, but that's would be the way it worked. Chris says, does the i3 have a GTX card? Yeah, sure. The GTX card is kind of processor agnostic. I've built systems with i3s, i5s, i7s, and i9s that all had GTX cards. Rich is leaving. Goodbye, Rich. Alex says, do you know anything about the roadmap for vMix and when the next release is scheduled? Thank you, Alex. The check is in the mail. Yes. vMix is currently at vMix 22, and vMix 23 was shown off in its alpha version at IBC, with the promise that there will be a public beta released shortly. Shortly meaning 2 to 3 weeks, ish. My guess is that the vMix guys, number one, they're waiting for Tim to get back from Slovakia, where he was doing a walkabout. And the next vMix Funtime live show may be the date that they release the vMix 23 beta. They've indicated at IBC, they indicated it would be a couple of weeks. They also indicated that they would be releasing vMix 23 by the end of the year. Typically, that last year that was a Christmas week kind of thing. It was an early Christmas present. And they've also given us a little bit of a roadmap on vMix 24, which is unusual. It's the first time they've talked about what's coming after the one that they're haven't even released. vMix 24 is going to be I wouldn't say a rewrite of vMix Replay, but will be adding a lot of features and maybe changing the way it operates somewhat, but a pretty major improvements to vMix 24. So that is scheduled for 2020, the year 2020. So that's the roadmap. vMix 23 beta coming out soonish, and then a release version by the end of the year, and then sometime in 2020 vMix to release vMix 24. vMix 23 will have the things that we showed off at IBC, which is SRT, Secure Reliable Transport, a point-to-point video transport protocol that guarantees absolutely positively that all the video will arrive there and will be in sync with every other camera, for example, that's bringing in. So you could have 10 remote cameras out there on a marathon course, and they're all coming in over SRT with the same exact amount of latency, so they're in sync with each other. I guess it wouldn't matter for a marathon, but you get the point. Somebody had a question that slipped by me, so if you would pass that through again, I will have a go at it. Eric says he thinks 16 gigs of RAM is not enough for laptops and vMix. Actually, Martin Sinclair, my cuz, I always throw out that every chance I get. Martin says that vMix doesn't even use the full 16. So you can put more in there if you want, but if it'll make you feel better. But vMix is only used less than 16. But vMix dearly loves the NVIDIA graphics card because Martin Sinclair has crawled inside that graphics card and he has found every nook and cranny, every ounce of power that thing has in order to harness it to be used by vMix. Yep. All right, Eric wants a system that is not huge and doesn't weigh a ton for high school sports to get in and out of press boxes. Well, if Dave Edwards were still here, he would tell you we need, you can use a laptop. That's what he's using. If you want to spend $12,000, you can use a Switchblade. which is that lunchbox style computer. Alex had an email response from Kimberly at vMix, Martin's sister. We are adding more audio buses to the next version of vMix, so it will be possible to route up to 8 guest audios once the next version is released. That is true. That is the other big feature, is that there are 2 audio buses now. They will be adding 5 more. Well, they only said 5 more at IBC, so maybe it's going to be 6 more. Interesting. Tom, you need to add another keyboard and mouse to your studio. No, I don't. If they're wireless, maybe. Although I've had really bad luck with wireless keyboards for whatever reason. There we go, Jamie. That was the question I was looking for. What time of day are the vMix 101 classes? Yes. The classes start on October 8th. They will be taught at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and at 7 in the evening Eastern Time for 6 weeks. And it's pinned at 90 minutes, but my guess is it probably will be a little bit more than that by the time we get through all the questions and answers. And we'll just basically repeat the same class at 7 that we had at 3. And so the discussions will be different. The classes will be different as a result. People will have different questions. I've never had anybody come to both of them, but if you want to sign up for the class and come to both classes, you are more than welcome. Alex said, I asked the question as I wanted to route all my guests to my DAW. Okay. Yeah, how would that work? I mean, the buses are internal. I don't know enough about how DAWs work to know how that would work, Alex. Maybe there's an audio guy here that can tell you about that. Eric, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure. Indeed. You know, if the DAW sets up a series of Windows devices that vMix can attach to, that their buses can connect to, then I think it should work pretty easy peasy. Bye, Chris. We will see you when we see you. I know I've tried to find in the past some you know, kind of virtual audio cables that worked with ASIO, and that was difficult to find. I finally found one guy in Australia that had written some software that did that, and then all of a sudden his software stopped working, and I found out that he had died. And the server that the software checked into, of course, wasn't online anymore. Yeah, John says you would probably be able to link new audio buses to physical outputs. Yes, and you know your DAW. I guess the DAW would the DAW be running on, would the DAW software be running on the same PC? If that's the case, yeah, we'll have to think that one through. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. The current workaround for me was that the audio is written to files and can be used in post. Yep. Mr. Hayford said, are we to expect Streaming Idiots Convention in the near future? No, but we will have a meetup again at NAB 2020 in April of 2020. Probably that Monday night of NAB, but not a convention. We might have a little meetup here locally when our special guest comes. Jan says, however, looping all the audio to a DAW and back in will probably give you sync problems. Yeah, it could. Eric says, you get set in a workflow and you don't want to just walk away from it. Well, I can tell you that's for sure. I've got shortcuts and lower thirds and backgrounds that I've been using for years, just because path of least resistance. It seems to be working okay. Hasn't gotten dingy or worn out. It's not a little frayed at the edges down here. That's right. Lemonade. Thanksgiving at Tom's, by the way. Well, Tom won't be here for Thanksgiving, so clean up when you leave. Lock the doors when you leave. Clean up before you leave. Alex wants to know, is anybody on from the UK? That would be Steedy, if he's still there. Steedy Cam, Martin Steed. I don't know anybody else from the UK for sure. Yep, there you go. Carl, where is locally? Locally is Fairhope, Alabama. We're on the Gulf of Mexico, kind of midway between Mobile, Alabama, and Pensacola, Florida. We are on the eastern shore of Mobile Bay, hence the moniker Eastern Shore Broadcasting. Yep. Jan says, Tom, your vMix pillow is a little worn. Send it to me. I'll fix it. Oh, you will, huh? I'll never see it again. You know, you had an opportunity while you were there at IBC. You could have carried away all sorts of vMix relics. For sure. Thanks, Dave. Glad to have you. Yeah, Martin Steed, Steadicam, is a find. If you can meet up with him, you will be in good stead. Yep. Yeah, we've got quite a few vMix folks down here. It's really fun. RJ Murdoch is over in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, which is just to the east of us. We've got a bunch of folks in the Pensacola Crestview area that use vMix. The University of South Alabama over in Mobile uses vMix in their sports department. The Mobile County Public Schools has an OB van that uses, I think, either 3 or 4 different vMix systems, and then numerous churches around are using it. There's a high school over in Mobile that uses it to power their video board. It's a doggone Swiss Army knife. It'll do just about anything. All right, Thanksgiving is canceled. We're moving to Christmas at Tom. Tom's going to be out of town for Christmas too. You should do a Swedish vMix meetup. Yes, you should. That would be great. Yeah, we never really did put one together for IBC. We had a bird dog meetup, and we had we had the bowling night. Yeah, we had the bowling night. Alex and Martin, if you guys are a little hesitant to post email addresses here, you can both send me an email, and I'll act as an intermediary to hook you guys up. Sam's here, Mayor Sam Ricard, the weather mayor. Even small community cable channels in North Mississippi, USA, use vMix. There you go. All right, Alex White is on Facebook with the same name and same image. There you go. Take a snapshot of that image. All right, gents. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm about talked out. Oh, except Eric, how do you use tally lights on your productions? Well, Eric, it's me. I'm the producer, I'm the director, I'm the technical director, I'm the cameraman, I'm the audio guy, I'm the graphics guy. I'm the talent, well, questionable on that one. But, yep, So no, I don't use tally lights. So no help there. Dave Edwards is here still. Or back. There we go. There we go. Manchester Video Limited, welcome. He was lurking out there. Gavin is here. Glad to have you. It is, what is it, 20 till 11 in the UK now. You guys are up mighty late. You're going to get in trouble. You're going to get in trouble. All right. Martin said that he would use me as an intermediary. Alex, if you want to send me go to the Eastern Shore Broadcasting. There's a contact page there, and just send me a note. Give me your email address so you want to get a hold of Martin, and Martin do the same. I'll hook you guys up. Colorado Sports TV. Scott, is that you? We should do a bowling night at NAB. Better than that, we should live stream a bowling night at NAB. All right. Oh, Dave said his math was correct, by the way. Well, Dave, forgive me. I was referring to the way vMix uses their magnification numbers. So, so from 4K, 1080p is a 2, and 720 is a 3. There you go. All right. Alex says it's 2140. That would be 21, 29, it's 20 of 10. Okay. All right. Scott can get us into South Point. Ooh, well, it sounds like there's a connection there. Eric would put a hole in the floor. Eric, you couldn't do any worse than Marie. Marie comes from the slow pitch softball school of bowling. Banana math, that's right, Dave. The new math, the math from down under. Yep. You know, all the blood rushes to their heads. No wonder it's different down there. Yeah, we did speed bowl, which was you know, when you rent a lane for a certain period of time and you finish your game and there's a little bit of time left, you want to see if you could get a whole game in. So who was it? Was it Martin? Martin, was it you and I that were trying to do speed bowl with just a very short period of time left? It was crushing. Oh yeah, we were trying to do. There were four names set up, and so we were trying to play as if we were four bowlers. All right, Alex, I'll take a look in here in a little bit and get you guys hooked up for sure. My pleasure. All right, guys. Well, we are going to call it a day, and it was a treat to hang out with you. Thank you for coming out and hanging out and chatting, and it's nice to be among friends, you know. And I will see you next week. If you're in the class, I'll see you next Tuesday. If not, I'll see you next Wednesday. We've got some good guests coming up, so we will have to tell you more about that when we can confirm them. Yes, Martin, that was great fun. That was great fun. You ever bust your behind on a lane? Yeah, we're not talking about that. Yeah. Yeah, Tim is on a train somewhere. He's on his way back to a place where he's going to be on his way back to Australia, so that he can get ready to come back to New York for NAB New York in, what's that, 2 weeks? Yeah. All right, later. Bye, guys. Yep. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Appreciate you popping in. and we will see you later.